A man by the name of Bennett Foddy once said, "There is no feeling more intense than starting over." If you deleted your homework the day before it was due, as I have, or if you left your wallet at home and you have to go back after spending an hour on the commute, if you won some money at the casino and put all your winnings on red but it came up black, if you got your best shirt dry cleaned before a wedding and immediately dropped food on it, if you won an argument with a friend and then later discovered that they just returned to their original view, starting over is harder than starting up. Unquote. But in my personal opinion, sometimes you really have to start, you do have to start over in order for those great moments to really shine. And that is why we're here today. So, who am I? What is One Take exactly? And where are we going with this channel? And why am I yapping? Well, I'm glad you asked. I know you probably didn't ask, but I'll act like you asked, okay? Basically, my name is Jake, and a few months ago, exactly a year ago, I entered college, right? I went into college with my freshman, with my high school diploma under my belt, just another notch, right? And so I went to college thinking, okay, well, high school was kind of low key. It was a challenge, but it was low key a breeze. I think I'm just gonna do what I did in high school, apply it to college, and then we'll just get through these 4 years, right? And so I did that, and then naturally I was hit with a reality check, a very very harsh one, because during high school, I was one of I mean I'm not gonna self-loathe or anything, but I feel like I was one of the most academically intelligent people of my class. I graduated top 5, top 6%, just in my entire school. So it was just kind of this thing where, and for reference, I'm not gonna brag about it. I'm just like showing stats here, for just comparison, right? That was 4.6 weighted roughly, and then 3.8 unweighted, right? So really, really good, really good. The thing is that I walked into college thinking that what I did in high school would work, and it clearly did not. Because when I finished my first semester of college, I ended with a 2.5 GPA. 2.5. And I talked about examples from the very, very first one. I know it's no longer up, so I will briefly mention it. The reason why I believed at the time, and I still believe now, was because I didn't take time to reflect on my mistakes, right? For chemistry specifically, chemistry is like the hardest fucking class I have ever taken, okay? Basically, there was this one test that I took at the very, very beginning of the school year for that class, and I ended up getting a 45, right? And I know why I know why I got a 45, and I know why I didn't get a good score. It was because I didn't I didn't take the proper time to study. I didn't take the proper steps necessary to do well on that test, right? But at the time, I didn't really think about that. What I thought about was just like, oh, that's fine. We'll get it on the next test. But what I didn't do was take time and reflect of, okay, why did I fail that test? So I walked into the second test, got a 42. And you can probably guess what happened next. I walked into the third test, got a 40%. And so naturally, on the fourth test, I finally learned my mistake. But by then, it was already too late. So I basically, and that wasn't just for chemistry. That was for a load of other classes that I had, right? So it was just an interesting experience to me because I don't really take losses well. I'm not that kind of guy, right? I'm not the kind of guy that takes those kinds of things in like just a satisfying way. I saw that 2.5 GPA. I saw that my scholarships were on the line. I saw that I lost some scholarships, and I was like, I don't fucking like that. I don't like that, right? And so something needs to change. And so what changed is that I made the one take series, where, as I say in my intros, we get one chance to reflect on the day. No second chances, no third chances, one take, and one take only. The idea of one take, I'm not reading off a script, by the way. I'm just like staring off into the distance. I usually do that. I'm sorry. A couple of mannerisms that I'll say do in like a one take video. I'll pretty much do this. If I'm doing that, then that means I'm catching myself with poor fucking posture, which needs to be fucking corrected. That still hasn't changed. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes what I'll also do is I'll reach for like my water bottle. I don't have a water bottle with me right now. I have Pure Leaf iced tea, absolutely goated. I'll reach for the water bottle, take a sip whenever I need to because talking is hard sometimes. And then let's see. I believe I also there are a couple other mannerisms that I have. One thing that is new, I will say, is that I don't use these. I haven't used this. Normally, it's just kind of me talking with like without a mic or anything. But I feel like maybe I'm kind of experimenting. I'm experimenting a little bit. So, anyways, little rant aside, little tangent. Basically, the idea of one take was because I would be reflecting in one shot with there nothing is edited and there are no fucking like second takes or anything. Everything you see on this channel and on that previous channel, with a few exceptions of course, was done in the first take. I press record, I say what I need to say, and no matter how fucking scrambled my words are or how crazy I sound or fucking whatever it is, I upload that. That's it. That's it. Because you only get one chance. You only get one chance in life, so I should get only one chance to reflect. And so these videos would range from anywhere from the shortest one was like just under 2 minutes to the longest one, 2 days later, ironically enough, being just over an hour, 102 minutes, right? I will take however much time I need to reflect on the day and go line for line, statement for statement on what happened that day and how can we learn from that day. And the thing is that even though you are not able to see it currently, and sadly you might not ever see it, but I'll try and fix that. Hopefully I get to a point where you guys are able to see it. But basically, even though you're not able to see it, the one take series worked. Because at the end of the second semester, I ended up with a GPA total of 3.1 because I was taking more credits. I took 18 credits last semester as opposed to, what was it, 14? Yeah, 14 my first semester. And I ended up scoring better. I got A's and B's as opposed to like fucking all over the rainbow A, B, C's, and my first D in chemistry, right? And so I figured I'm not going to mention kind of like every single little detail, but a few things that you might need to know in that department. Just some character. We'll build character a little bit, okay? I despise chemistry, as you could probably tell. I don't think it takes a genius to figure out that one. Let's see. Calculus, I had a very weird journey with because Calc 1, I barely passed with a C due to various things. And Calc 2, I started off really, really bad. I failed my first test in that class. But then I had what I like to call the greatest academic comeback of all time. Because due to from that day on, I basically just buckled the fuck down. I ended up getting an A in that class, right? So I have a love-hate relationship with calculus. Hate Calc 1, love Calc 2, and we're taking Vector Calc pretty soon. So that should be kind of interesting. So basically, I'm trying to think. The other things, let's see. Physics is pretty cool. And let's see other things. I don't know. You got to take gen eds and stuff. My favorite gen ed from my previous one take was a hip hop class. I'm really really into hip hop music and all that kind of stuff. And I'm actually trying to create not like a hip hop career, but I'm trying to become a music artist that's like mostly inspired by like hip hop slash R&B and soul. And so I swear that there's a purpose to this, okay? Basically, just character development, okay? So, the things that I talk about on this channel, it wasn't, what I realized is that, well, it doesn't just have to be about academics, it could just be about life in general. And that's why I call it a self improvement journey, is because I get to talk about school, I get to talk about my sleep schedule, I get to talk about working out, joining clubs, socializing, a bunch of different stuff like that. And so it was really, really, it was a good method because, like I said, it ended up working. In most aspects, yeah, it changed my life. I'm not gonna lie, it really did. So I feel like I gotta upload and just edit like some things at some point. And you're probably wondering, well, okay, well, you're talking all of this shit about, okay, well, you're saying that this is all unedited. You're saying that this is all one take. But why are you going back and editing them? Well, because after I finished the school semester, I went into the summer, which I call the off season, by the way, or just any break I like to call the off season. Um, the thing is that I went into the off season thinking, okay, well, improvement just doesn't just stop at school, right? It can be applied like to life. It can be applied everywhere you go. Like every day, you should take time to reflect and see what mistakes you've made, and see what you did right and what you should keep doing, right? And so that was the logic, and it did work. It was going well for a while until at one point, and I'm not going to mention any names because I want to change that in the future. Hang on. I'll explain in a little bit, okay? I'll explain in a little bit. Basically, I I got personal. I got a little too personal with some people, and it was in their defense, it was kind of really personal. I'm not going to lie, it really was really personal. Just because they basically did something that really, really made me mad just because they've been making me mad for a long, long, long time. No, they really haven't. They really haven't. It was basically a thing that's like, yeah, it's just building. It was a building scenario. They weren't making me really, really mad or anything. It was just a built, like, what, I don't know, the freaking, they were stirring, they weren't stirring the pot though. It was just like stuff that they were involved, no. How the fuck do I word this? Hang on. It was basically a scenario where I was just fed up with a bunch of not only their kind of perspective and like way of they how they walk through life, but also the people around them. Mainly the people around them is honestly the real one. So they basically confronted me about it, and they were kind of asking me to take it down. I'm like, you know what? Okay, fair enough. And so I took the video down. They thanked me for taking the video down, and then they started to complain about it still. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, if you're gonna complain about the video getting taken down, that specifically relates to you, and I might have made some mistakes in the past. Like, what if I got this personal with anyone else and I just didn't realize it? Then I'm deleting the whole fucking channel. And so that's what I did. I pressed the big red self destruct button. That is the delete channel permanently, and I did that. I still have the videos in my camera roll. And there were 138 videos recorded before I deleted the channel. I have gone through, I believe, 23 so far. And got to make edits to some of them, but overall it's not too bad. Okay, I'll explain myself though. Okay, it wasn't completely personal, and it wasn't me doxing other people. Okay, that's one thing you will notice across that series. If it were to be up, and you were to watch everything from beginning to end, you'd notice that I am very, very self aware of these people's privacy. Okay, what I basically did for each person was I gave them a code name, right? I gave them a code name to refer them by, so that way I wouldn't have to use the real name. I could nickname people, which was kind of fun, and then I could just I could talk about them as if they were as if they were a person, right? So like some examples were like there was this one person who was this is kind of a boring one. This one person who was a physiology major, and so basically I named him Physio, right? There was this one guy, or it can be like that, or it can be like someone like there's this one girl that I knew whose fun fact about herself when she was like kind of we were doing introductions within a club was that she really likes to play guitar, right? Which is it's kind of funny because that's a really simple one, but basically it was a thing of like I named her Guitar, right? It was that kind of it was that kind of thing. So it wasn't me using the names outright. Like if someone's name was Jake, for example, I wouldn't say Jake did this, Jake did that, fuck Jake. Jake is an absolutely horrible person. I'm not that kind of guy, right? I'm very sane of these people's privacy. However, the only con of that system was the fact that people could catch on about who is being named what, right? Especially because there are a few people that I have told which nickname correlates to which person, and so obviously, if most people know about that, then that's just a problem because like that defeats the whole point of protecting these people's privacy, right? So here's the thing, okay? From this point on, I will reveal certain aspects, okay? I will reveal this, okay? I am an engineering major. I will not tell you which branch of engineering, and I will make sure that when I talk about my classes, I will not talk about which branch of engineering. But note that I am an engineering major, right? So there's that, okay? The second thing is that when I talk about people, I'm going to I want to make them like I want to talk about them like kind of maybe I give like what is it? How should I do that actually? Because originally I was thinking of some sort of system where I just call them like person A or some shit like that, but I don't really know exactly, like kind of how that would play out. Let's see. Basically, okay, I'll come up with the system, okay? That's what we'll work on. We'll come up with a new system that guarantees these people privacy. Like if I call a person A will vary from video to video so that you literally cannot pin down who each person is, right? That's what I want to do. I want to buckle down on protecting these people. Um so that was one thing that I really wanted to talk about. And so just to make sure that it doesn't get deleted for the same reason, because it's kind of sad that I had to delete it because that marked an entire journey, an entire thing of growth, right? But I just kind of had to delete it. I kind of panicked and I was like, well, shit, you know? So basically, the reason why, well, okay, we'll probably end on this kind of question, okay? We'll, we'll end on two questions, okay? So obviously for I stopped because of the one video, right? Of that one video getting public, and I deleted the whole channel. Why did I stop making videos after that for the off season? Well, it's because this particular person over the summer, I was just kind of like I spent a lot of time with them, kind of like in close quarters. So basically, what ended up happening was that I mean it was like if I'm gonna live with this person in close quarters anyway, and I can't really vent about my problems, then I just know more problems are going to come up. So there's no point. There's no point on me reflecting about a day where all I'm gonna talk about and is if all I'm gonna complain about really is just this person and the other people that I'm living in close quarters with, right? So I ended it for that reason and stopped it for a long time. I think I said it before, it is kind of unfortunate because there was like this long streak that I had. But basically, why am I starting it up now? I think is what I'm really trying to ask myself. And the reason why is because I know it worked last semester. And I know that was, even though one take was supposed to be an idea of not only does it help me, but maybe the viewers can learn something from it, right? Like maybe you personally will be inspired by a lesson that I share, and therefore you will go and incorporate that lesson into your own life. I know that it was a big part of not only my success but also other people's successes. I know people who've watched this video, like that video series, season one, and it has like impacted their lives in some way. And so I don't want to completely stop. I don't want to completely stop, especially because of this one video, this one thumbnail that I have, and I have a photo of it. Okay. Just a little quick thing. Personally, it's not my favorite video, okay? It's not my favorite video. It's not my best video by any means, but it has got to be my best thumbnail and my most maybe one of my more interesting concepts for a video. I am talking about why it got stuck in the fucking thing. I'm sorry, hang on. I am talking about this. One Take episode 128, a self-improvement journey. What would your past self think of you now? What would your past self think of you now? And let me tell you something. If my past self saw my current self, it might not necessarily be 100% satisfied, right? And to be honest, I don't think it would ever be 100% satisfied. But it would be in a lot better of a position than my past self would be. And that was really the idea I was trying to dig at in that video, was that if your past self thinks of you as a letdown, well, then you did something fucking wrong. If your past self thinks of you as something really, really cool, though, well, then you did something right, and keep doing something right. But if you did something wrong, then you need to change your ways, because that's really messed up, bro. Like, come on, bro. So it was basically that general idea for it, right? And so I will say this. I don't know what my past self would have thought, because this thumbnail and this video was made about 2 weeks before I had to take my channel down permanently, right? I don't know what that man would have thought of that guy. He probably would have been really upset. But you know what? My current self, honestly, you can't change the past. And that's what makes your past self really interesting, is that you can't change the past. So your past self is permanently cemented as your past self, no matter how hard you try. But you can change your current self. You can change your current self. You can learn from your past self to change your current self, and therefore influence how your future self will turn out. So that is why I'm restarting this, is because I know it's good for me. I know it's good for other people, and I know that I can make a difference. I know I can make a difference with it in multiple people's lives. So before we end the video, how is this going to work? Well, like I said earlier, I will take however much time I need to in order to reflect on the day. Okay? I will start every video with the same exact intro. Okay? I will start it with the season number, the episode number, and say take one. For example, this is season 2, because this is technically the second semester that I am recording it for, even though it is my third semester overall in college. And then the episode number, depending on which one it is, and then like take one, right? So if, for example, if we were back in this 128, what would your past self think if you know? I would say season 1, episode 128, take 1. And then I would clap like this. And then I would say, what is good, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome back to the One Take series, where we get one chance to reflect on the day. No second chances, no third chances, one take, and one take only. That is how I would start every single video, okay? I can promise you that. I can promise you that. After that, I will go and talk about my day. I will go and reflect on certain events. I might jump around a little bit. I might go on side tangents. I apologize in advance. That is just how my brain works. And so, again, I will try and be a little bit more discreet, not only about people, but about my personal schedule. I will not mention what times my classes are for. And I will not probably mention, I probably won't mention any, I won't mention any of the, I don't know. I don't know. We can mention, I think we can mention, shit. This is where it gets tough, because maybe I can mention the names of classes. I can probably mention the names of classes. I just won't talk about what time I have those classes until the very, very end of the semester. That's probably where I'm going to go with it. I might change. That's probably bound to change in the future, but yeah. We'll just kind of see. We'll kind of see. Okay. So I'll go on and on and on and on until we reach the end of the day, and then I'll talk about, like I said, a variety of things. I will talk about school. I will talk about my relationship with God. Okay, I am a Christian, but obviously, I respect anybody's religion, regardless of what you have. I'm not gonna force it on you. That's one of my big lessons personally. I don't like forcing shit on people. Could you imagine? That's one thing that I kept from last season, and that I'm going to keep this season. Could you imagine how much better the world would be if we stopped forcing shit on each other? Seriously. Regardless, political views, religious views, being gay, being a certain race, having a certain culture, if that wasn't forced on anybody, dude, we would be living golden. I'm telling you. So that's more for another day. But I will talk about whatever I feel like talking about. I will talk about school, religion, sleep, bad habits, working out, whatever it is. And then I will end the video by saying, so what did we learn from today? and I will list off 3 things that either I didn't like about the day and that I can improve upon, things that I liked about the day and that I can keep doing to fuel my success, or a mixture of those, right? And so I might do more, I might do less, but usually it's going to be 3. And then I will end the video by saying, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. And cut. That is how we'll do it. Okay? I might not use this in the future. I'm not going to lie. This is getting kind of annoying having to put that down because I want to keep the flow of everything. But yeah. So I'm debating on whether or not, you know what? Fuck it. Practice run. Practice run. Okay? Yeah. I had to crack my back. Fuck. Okay, anyways. So what should I call this? Should I call this? Yeah, we'll run through a practice scenario really quick, okay? Let's say, you know what, we'll call this one episode 0 of season 2. So we'll say season 2, episode 0, take 1. What is good, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome to the One Take series. Usually it's welcome back, but welcome to the One Take series, where I get one chance to reflect on the day. No second chances, no third chances, one take and one take only. Today, I moved back into my dorm, all right? And there's not too much to say about that, but, I would normally be, like, super detailed, but I'll start with this, okay? There was basically this thing where my roommates, we picked our rooms at random just because we didn't really think it mattered too much. But apparently there was a thing in the system where it did matter because we basically had keys to where, okay, we could all enter like kind of the dorm itself, right? But we can't enter our own individual rooms without our own key. The problem is that I was assigned to room C, but I wanted room A. And then that happened with 2 other people, but kind of like in reverse directions. And so I was really worried because when I saw the security lock on the door, I was like, oh shit. It's like, oh no. And so naturally I put it in and the key didn't work, right? And so basically what I had to do is, thankfully the other 2 guys were in town. I'll explain more on their backstory another time, and I'll also explain more on why they were in town another time. It's probably going to make a lot more sense, low-key, after I drop the first season. Crap, I need to get that done at some point. Okay. Um, but anyways, okay. Basically, thankfully they were in town, and so even though the people at the front desk were giving me a hard time and whatever, they told me to send them an email. I sent them a freaking email, and they still didn't do anything about it. So, I mean, there's a lesson right there. Some people just don't really want to put in the work even though they signed up for it. You've signed up for your job. You better be doing your job. But basically, they did the thing, and we exchanged keys, and it was pretty productive, because I was able to get into my room, and even though they weren't checking in today, they have their keys now, so that's pretty cool. We're all excited just because this dorm is really cool. We've heard great things about it, and so we're really excited to just be here. The rest of it was just me moving myself in, and just I also was helping a friend move in, and so it was kind of weird because I think her roommate was kind of giving off like really weird vibes or something like that. Kind of like that vibe where you're basically like she was like nice in front while her parents were in the room, but then her parents stepped out of the room, and then all of a sudden that personality is gone. Okay, that's another common theme that I have across this channel. Okay, is that I don't like two-faced people. I don't like two-faced people at all. I would rather you hate behind my back and straight to my face than have you love me in front of me and hate me behind my back. I really would. Because at least you're being consistent with the first one. The second one, it's like, fuck you, just fuck you. Like, what is wrong with you? Basically, yeah, so it was just kind of like a weird scenario. And that was, I mean, honestly, that's really the majority of what happened today. The rest of it was literally just moving myself in and moving this friend in. just, we were getting settled in. I will say one thing. It's really, really weird being in a different spot, in like a different, just like room, like just a different room from last time. Because the thing is that my first one, like my first dorm, like I absolutely loved it. It felt like home. And so it kind of just like was a snapshot in my mind. I was like, okay, this is home at college, right? So when I left and then I came back and I realized, wait a minute, I have like a new home now, basically. Like this new dorm is like my new home. It's like really, really weird because you develop so many memories in the first room. Now it's like you're in the second room. It's like now it's a freaking clean blank slate. That it ties into that whole thing with starting over, man. It really does feel like I'm starting all the way from the beginning, even though that's not really what's happening. But it really does feel like that. So the rest of it was basically I'm waiting for the other two guys, who I exchanged keys with, to actually move in. But there's this one guy that I don't really know too well, but every conversation that I've had with him has been pretty cool. It's just kind of like in passing in the hallways. Like today was like the first kind of time where we were actually like kind of like in the same room together. Like we had to actually like talk and stuff like that. And so yeah, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, you meet someone at first, it's just a little awkward, it's a little rough in the beginning, but I feel like it's going to get better. I think it's going to get better over time. It's already showing signs of getting better over time. So I'm excited to see where that's going to develop, but I don't know why. I think the last thing that I'll say is basically I was I was basically doing a thing where I was just kind of really like sad, I guess. I was just kind of like not depressed, right? I'm not going to use that term. But it was just like a weird feeling just because of everything that's going on. I was like, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, like you can't be sad, okay? If you're only sad in this scenario because you're making this sad, okay? Do things that make you happy. Do things to make this more fun. So, naturally, uh I didn't really do that, I'll be honest. I didn't. I just created the account so that I can get one take back up again. But, you know, we gotta, I think that's a good learning point. And so then, came here, recorded this video, and I'll probably go to bed soon. And so that was pretty much my entire day. So what did we learn from today? We learned that sometimes people are just disingenuous. We learned that sometimes people are also just lazy. You cannot do anything to control those people, okay? The only person you can focus on and control is yourself. You have 100% control not over what happens to you, but over how you react, okay? We also learned that things can only be sad, not things can only be sad, but most likely 9 times out of 10, if things are sad or you are just in a sad situation, you did stuff in that situation to make it more sad than it needed to be, right? Can you imagine, like, what if I watched a YouTube video? What if I played music? What if I made music? What if I did a variety of different things to keep my mind off of the fact that, okay, new home, basically, new room, new dorm, just all that stuff? Like, what could I have done, right? And so the third thing, I'll say the third thing that we learned from today, um, we'll say that pick your pick your friends and pick your roommates wisely. I'd say because it's well, you know what? No, no, no. We won't say that. We won't say that. We'll basically say sometimes you just get lucky. Sometimes you just get lucky, and like luck is just an unavoidable thing in the world. Is that a hole in the wall? No, okay. It's must be my spit on the screen. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna hopefully. Sorry, I had to wipe that off. That was bugging me. That was bugging me a lot. Um, we'll say sometimes you just get lucky. Some days you just have really good luck, and sometimes you just have really bad luck. You can't do anything about it. It's luck. But thankfully, most things in life are skill based, so you don't really have to worry about that luck factor. You know, but when you do, watch out for it because it can either make or break your day. To be honest, that's pretty much the main things that I have to say for today. So what I plan on doing is I want to get more because I talked all about it. I will say one thing, I'm guilty of this. One thing that I did all of last semester was I talked about, oh, we got to make a plan next day. Oh, we got to make a plan next day. Oh, we got to make a plan. Okay, you keep saying you make a plan. If you don't actually make a plan, then what the fuck was the point of reflecting about making a plan? So basically, I want to get more, I want to crack more down on it. Just that whole idea of how to make a plan, how to be efficient, how to just like be more structured. Because me personally, I'll be honest, I'm a bit more of like a checklist kind of guy, right? I'm very much a like, okay, here's what I need to do. Check, 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 check. Okay, we're done, right? But the thing is that in life you're never done. In life there are always things you can be doing to be productive. You can, and even when you're done being productive, you do productive things to in your downtime. Like you take naps. That's a productive thing. You shouldn't be scrolling on your phone. So I want to make a more scheduled thing. Okay, I want to make a very like a destined time. I want to be like a freaking soldier. Like I want to be like, okay, I wake up at this time. I make breakfast at this time. I go to my first class at this time. Stay until campus until this time. Work out on this time, have a club at this time, make dinner at this time, go to bed this time. I want it to be very, very rinse and repeat. And I want to have that kind of lifestyle because the more and more consistent that my days are, the more likely I am to follow that schedule. Okay? That's what I want to work on. That's really what I want to work on. So, um, and you know what I also want to work on is I want to incorporate the Bible into my schedule because last semester I think only 2 days I was in like kind of a Bible study group, but other than that there were only like 2 days of the semester where I voluntarily read the Bible without anyone else telling me, hey, we should read the Bible, basically. So I want to work on that. Um, and I think that is a pretty that is more than enough of a pilots for this season. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, even though there might not be anybody yet. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. I am not using this mic ever again. Cut.